You are spending money on things that wealthy people stopped buying years ago. Not because wealthy people are cheap, not because they do not enjoy life, because they figured out something most Americans never do, that certain spending categories exist almost entirely to transfer your money to someone else, permanently, with nothing coming back. This is not about lattes. This is not about skipping vacations. This is about 9 specific categories where real accumulated wealth quietly diverges from the performance of wealth, and the gap between those two things, in 2026 America, is wider than it has ever been. Most people are buying one. Most people are buying several. Some are buying all 9 every single month and wondering why the account never grows. Here is number 1. New cars financed at full price. The average new car in America right now costs $49,700. The average monthly payment is between $720 and $760, depending on your credit score and term length. Most buyers take a 72-month loan, that is 6 years. Run the full math. At a 7.4% interest rate, which is close to the current national average for auto loans, you will pay approximately $63,400 total for that $49,700 car. That is $13,700 in interest alone. But that is still not the full number. The moment you drive a new car off the lot, it loses between 9% and 11% of its value. In the first year, most new vehicles depreciate between 15% and 20%. So that $49,700 car is worth roughly $40,000 after 12 months. You still owe close to $46,000. You are already underwater, meaning you owe more than the car is worth before the first year is finished. Genuinely wealthy people understand this math. Not all of them drive beaters, but the pattern is consistent. They buy used, they buy with cash or minimal financing, and they keep vehicles for a long time. A 3-year-old certified pre-owned vehicle has already absorbed the steepest depreciation curve. Someone else paid for that first year. You get the asset at the bottom of the drop. Marcus drives a 2019 sedan he bought for $18,400 in cash 3 years ago. His coworker Devon finances a new $51,000 truck at $748 a month. Over 6 years, Devon spends $53,856 in payments plus insurance that runs $180 a month higher on the new vehicle. That is an additional $12,960 over the same period. Devon's total, $66,816. Marcus kept his $18,400, paid $80 a month less in insurance, and invested the $748 monthly difference. At a 10% average annual return, the S&P 500 historical average, that $748 a month over 6 years becomes approximately $72,000. Same income. Different decision. One person is worth $72,000 more at the end of 6 years. That is number 1. Number 2, subscription services they do not track. The average American household pays for 4.2 streaming services simultaneously. At an average of $16 per service per month, that is $67.20 every month, $806 every year, on entertainment subscriptions alone. Add software subscriptions, music platforms, news sites, cloud storage upgrades, meal kit deliveries, and membership boxes, and the real number for most households lands between $180 and $340 every month. The problem is not the individual subscription. The problem is accumulation without audit. Each one feels small. $14.99 here, $9.99 there, $6.99 for the one you signed up for during a free trial and forgot to cancel. Individually invisible. Collectively, they are a second utility bill. Diana sat down in January and listed every recurring charge on her credit card and bank statements. She found 14 active subscriptions. She remembered signing up for 7 of them. The other 7 she had forgotten entirely. Combined cost, $287 per month, $3,444 per year. 4 of them she had not used in over 6 months. Genuinely wealthy people audit subscriptions the way businesses audit expenses. because that is exactly what they are. Quarterly review. Cancel anything unused. Negotiate anything that increased in price without notice. This is not frugality. This is basic financial hygiene that most people skip because the charges are small enough to ignore individually. If Diana redirected that $287 monthly into a high-yield savings account at 4.5% APY, the current range in 2026 is 4.2% to 4.8%. She earns $154 in interest in the first year alone. Redirected into an index fund over 10 years, that $287 a month compounds to approximately $58,000. That is not hypothetical. That is arithmetic. Number 3, extended warranties and protection plans. You buy a $1,200 laptop. The checkout screen, or the cashier, offers you a 3-year extended warranty for $249. It feels responsible. It feels like the smart move. You take it. Here is what the retailer knows that you do not. Extended warranties are among the highest margin products in retail. Profit margins on warranties can reach 50% to 80%. They are priced well above the statistical likelihood of the covered failure actually occurring within the coverage window. The product is engineered to last. The warranty is priced as though it will not. That gap is pure profit, transferred from your account to theirs. Consumer Reports data consistently shows that extended warranties rarely pay off for the buyer. Most product failures occur either early, covered under the manufacturer's warranty, or late, after the extended warranty has expired anyway. The middle window that the extended warranty actually covers is statistically the lowest failure period of a product's life. Genuinely wealthy people self-insure small risks. If a $1,200 laptop breaks in year 2, they can absorb that cost. The extended warranty, if purchased on every device and appliance, costs more annually than the average repair bill. Marcus puts $30 a month into a dedicated repair and replacement fund. Over 3 years, he has $1,080 available for any device failure. And if nothing fails, the money is still his. Devon buys the warranty on every purchase. Television, phone, washer, laptop, tablet. Combined warranty spend roughly $600 to $900 a year. Money that is gone regardless of whether anything breaks. Number 4, minimum payments on credit card balances. This is not just a spending habit. This is a wealth destruction mechanism with legal documentation you signed. The average American credit card APR right now is between 21% and 24%. The average household carrying a balance owes approximately $7,200 in credit card debt. At 22% APR, that balance generates $1,584 in interest per year, $132 per month, just in interest charges. If you make only the minimum payment, which is typically 1% to 2% of the balance, you are barely covering the interest. The principal barely moves. Run the full scenario. A $7,200 balance at 22% APR. Minimum payment starts at approximately $180. If you make only minimum payments, it takes over 20 years to pay off that balance, and you pay approximately $9,400 in interest. You borrowed $7,200 and repaid over $16,600. The credit card company made more money from your debt than the original purchase amount. Genuinely wealthy people treat credit cards as 30-day float instruments, not financing tools. They charge what they would have spent in cash anyway. They pay the full balance every month. They collect the rewards, cash back, points, miles, and pay zero interest. The exact same credit card that costs Devon $1,584 a year in interest earns Diana $340 a year in cash back rewards. Same card, opposite financial outcome. If you are carrying a balance right now, the highest APR card gets every available dollar above minimums. This is the avalanche method, and it minimizes total interest paid. Most people spread extra payments randomly. The math does not support that. Focus. Sequence. Eliminate the highest rate first. Number 5, lottery tickets and gambling as a financial strategy. Americans spent $113 billion on lottery tickets in 2023. The average American who plays the lottery spends between $40 and $80 per month. That feels modest. That is $480 to $960 per year. The expected return on a lottery ticket, meaning the statistical average of what you get back per dollar spent, is approximately 50 cents. Every dollar you spend on lottery tickets returns 50 cents on average. That is a guaranteed minus 50% annual return on that portion of your money. Genuinely wealthy people understand expected value. They do not avoid risk. Many of them take significant investment risk, but they take calculated risk where the expected return is positive over time. The stock market has a negative year roughly 30% of the time, but the long-term expected return is positive. Lottery tickets have a negative expected return 100% of the time, every time, by design. That is how the system funds itself. $60 a month redirected from lottery tickets into an S&P 500 index fund at the historical 10.5% average annual return becomes approximately $14,700 over 10 years. Over 20 years, that same $60 a month becomes approximately $48,000. The lottery ticket buyer has $0 in accumulated returns and approximately $14,400 in total losses over that same 20 years. This is not about judgment. This is about expected value. The math has one answer. Number 6, brand loyalty to overpriced products when generics are identical. Name brand ibuprofen and generic ibuprofen contain the exact same active ingredient at the exact same dosage. The name brand costs 2 to 3 times more. Identical therapeutic outcome. Different packaging. Different marketing spend, which you are funding. This pattern extends across hundreds of product categories. Grocery store generic staples, flour, sugar, canned goods, frozen vegetables, cleaning products, over-the-counter medications, are frequently manufactured in the same facilities as name brands to the same specifications with different labels. The FDA requires generic medications to be bioequivalent to their brand name counterparts. Bioequivalent means clinically identical in effect. The average family of 4 spends between $950 and $1,100 per month on groceries. Studies consistently show that switching 40% of purchases to store brand equivalents reduces the grocery bill by 15% to 25%. On a $1,000 monthly grocery budget, that is $150 to $250 saved every month, $1,800 to $3,000 every year, with zero reduction in nutritional or functional outcome. Diana made the switch on cleaning products, medications, pantry staples, and frozen goods. She kept name brands on the 3 items where she genuinely noticed a quality difference. Her monthly grocery bill dropped by $190. That is $2,280 per year. She redirected it directly into her Roth IRA, which has a 2026 annual contribution limit of $7,000. She is now funding 32% of her annual Roth contribution from a grocery habit change alone. Number 7, dining out as a default, not an occasion. The average American spends $3,400 to $3,800 per year dining at restaurants and ordering delivery. That number has increased significantly with the rise of delivery apps, which add service fees, delivery fees, and tips that can increase the cost of a meal by 35% to 55% above the menu price. A $14 meal ordered through a delivery app, after the delivery fee, service fee, and standard tip, costs $21 to $24. That same meal prepared at home costs $4 to $6 in ingredients. The delivery version costs 4 times more per serving for the same caloric and nutritional outcome. This is not about eliminating dining out. Wealthy people eat at restaurants. The difference is intentionality. Dining out as a deliberate choice, a planned social experience, a celebration, a treat, is different from dining out because there is nothing in the refrigerator and it is 6:45 and nobody planned anything. Marcus meal preps on Sundays. 2 hours, 5 days of lunches, and 3 dinners. His weekly food spend, $95. His coworker Devon orders delivery 4 nights a week and buys lunch every workday. Devon's weekly food spend, $310. Same number of meals consumed, $215 difference per week, $11,180 per year. Over 10 years, that gap, invested, exceeds $190,000. That number is not comfortable to look at. It is supposed to be. Number 8. Paying for financial products with high fees when low-fee alternatives are identical. The average actively managed mutual fund charges between 0.5% and 1.25% in annual expense ratio fees. The average S&P 500 index fund charges between 0.03% and 0.20%. On a $100,000 portfolio, the difference between a 1% fee fund and a 0.05% fee fund is $950 per year. On a $500,000 portfolio, which is not an unusual retirement account balance for someone in their 50s, that difference is $4,750 per year. Over 30 years of investing, that fee difference compounds into a staggering gap. Research from Vanguard and others consistently shows that the majority of actively managed funds underperform their benchmark index over a 15-year period, after fees. You pay more, you get less. That is the average outcome, not the worst case. Genuinely wealthy investors, not the ones who look wealthy, the ones who are, use low-cost index funds. Warren Buffett has publicly and repeatedly stated that for most investors, a simple S&P 500 index fund is the correct choice. His advice to his own estate, 90% into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. He has said this multiple times in writing to people who have access to any investment on earth. John Bogle, who founded Vanguard and created the index fund concept, spent decades documenting what he called the cost matters hypothesis. In investing, costs are the single most predictable variable affecting long-term outcomes. Lower costs, better outcomes, consistently. The data does not have a counterargument. Marcus checked his 401k last year. His employer's plan offered a target date fund with a 0.89% expense ratio. It also offered an S&P 500 index fund with a 0.04% expense ratio. Same expected market return. Completely different cost structure. He switched. On his current $87,000 balance, he now saves $741 per year in fees. That $741 annual saving, reinvested over 25 years at 10.5% average return, adds approximately $89,000 to his retirement balance. Check your expense ratios today. The information is in your fund prospectus. It takes 12 minutes. Number 9. Status purchases designed to signal wealth to people who are not paying attention. This is the final one, and it is the most expensive. The average American spends between $2,400 and $4,200 per year on what researchers call positional goods, items purchased primarily for their social signaling value rather than their functional value. Designer clothing, luxury accessories, premium vehicle trim levels, the upgraded hotel room that costs $180 more but is used for sleeping, the business class upgrade on a 3-hour domestic flight. Here is the uncomfortable truth about status purchases. The people you are trying to impress are either not paying attention or they are doing the same thing, spending money they cannot afford to signal wealth they do not have to people who are doing exactly the same thing. It is a loop, expensive, circular, producing nothing. Research from Thomas Stanley, who spent decades studying American millionaires for the Millionaire Next Door, found that the majority of genuinely wealthy Americans live in average neighborhoods, drive non-luxury vehicles, and shop for value rather than brand. The luxury car demographic is heavily skewed toward people with high income and low net worth, people who earn well and spend everything. The correlation between visible luxury spending and actual net worth is surprisingly weak. Diana earns $71,000 a year. She wears a $38 watch. Her car is paid off. She has $214,000 in her investment accounts at age 34. Her colleague earns $79,000. New luxury SUV. Designer handbag. Eats out 5 nights a week. Net worth, $11,000. The person who looks more financially successful in that office is $203,000 behind the person who looks ordinary. This is not about deprivation. It is about the audience. The people whose opinion genuinely matters in your life. The people who will be there when things get hard. The people you actually respect. They do not care about your watch. They care about you. The people you are buying status items for are strangers in parking lots and coworkers you will not know in 10 years. Status is not bought. It is accumulated quietly in accounts that do not have a logo on them. Now let us put all 9 together, because this is where it gets real. The average American who is doing all 9 of these things is spending an estimated $1,847 to $2,640 per month on these specific categories. That is money that produces no equity, no interest, no compounding return, and no lasting value. It is spent and gone. If you eliminate or significantly reduce all 9 categories, not to zero, but to intentional and audited levels, the average household frees up between $800 and $1,400 per month. That is a conservative estimate using real 2026 numbers. $1,000 per month invested at a 10.5% average annual return. After 10 years, approximately $204,000. After 30 years, approximately $689,000. After 30 years, approximately $2,100,000. $2.1 million. From redirecting spending that was producing nothing. That is not a get-rich scheme. That is arithmetic applied to real behavior over real time. The wealthy people in your life. The ones you probably cannot identify because they do not look the way wealth is supposed to look. They are not doing anything magical. They are not working harder than you. They are not smarter than you. They made a different decision about these 9 categories, probably years ago, and the compounding has been running ever since. The decision is available to you. It has always been available. The math does not care how old you are, what you earn, or what you have spent until now. It only responds to what you do starting from this point forward. Marcus started at 31. Diana started at 28. You can start today. The first step is the subscription audit, because it is the fastest. Open your last 2 months of bank and credit card statements. List every recurring charge. Highlight the ones you forgot about or have not used in 90 days. Cancel them this week. That single action, for the average American, recovers between $60 and $180 per month immediately. The second step is the fee audit, because it is the highest leverage. Log into your retirement account. Find the expense ratio on every fund you hold. If anything is above 0.20%, find the index fund equivalent in your plan and switch. If your plan does not offer a low-cost index fund, flag it with your HR department. You have the right to know your options. The third step is the most personal one. Look at your last 90 days of spending. Not to feel bad about it, to see the pattern clearly. Where is the money going? Which of the 9 categories are showing up? You do not have to change everything at once. Pick one. Redirect that money for 90 days. See what the account looks like. Wealth is not a personality type. It is not a salary level. It is not a family background. It is a series of repeated decisions made consistently over time that allow money to accumulate instead of transfer. The transfer is happening right now, every month, in these 9 categories. The only question is whether you keep participating in it or whether today is the day you stop.